welcome you to the Russell County Board of Supervisors, April the 6th, 2020, our regular scheduled meeting. First, to start off with the call of order and roll call. Tim Lovelace.
Here.
Carl Ray.
Here.
Luann Wallace.
Here.
David Eaton.
Here.
Steve Breedy.
Here.
Forrest Christian.
Here.
And Rebecca Dye.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's stand for invocation and remain standing for the pledge, please. Thank you, dear Lord, for giving us another day. Lead, guide, and direct us. Lord, reach out and put your hands around this community, this state, this country, and this world. We are in a time of crisis, and through you, all things are possible, and all healing is through you. Please watch over us. Let us do what we need to do for our folks within our communities, and lead, guide, and direct us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now I need a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
So moved.
David, Steve, second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right. First thing we have on our agenda tonight is the county attorney's report, and it is continuity of government emergency ordinance. Ms. Katie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have drafted another ordinance to address the emergency, and this one is a continuity of government. And what this ordinance would allow the board to do is to continue normal operations, even though you may be meeting electronically, which in all likelihood at your May meeting you may choose to do. This arrangement that you worked out for now may not even be enough safeguards for your all's health at that point. And so that ensures that government can continue on. It also includes the school board and any boards underneath you, such as the IDA and the PSA, to allow them to continue to meet electronically. It does put in there parameters on how you are, if there do need to be public hearings, if we get to a point where we're still meeting electronically or like this, and you need to have a budget hearing, there are guidelines on what you have to do to have a public hearing for that. There are also guidelines just for regular meetings. Even though we are meeting electronically and live streaming this, which allows people to see how you voted, it does allow if a meeting did need to be held, strictly by telephone. One of the requirements would be that you do a roll call vote on anything that you vote on, so everybody can know how each board member voted. It's broad as far as giving you options on how you want the public to participate. They can participate by email. We can designate a phone line for them to call in at designated points. It's just they have to, before we have a meeting, before we have our next meeting, we would have to decide, and at least 3 days before the meeting, our agenda would need to be posted, and we would need to really try to stick to that. I haven't really seen any questions yet come up with the other attorneys in Virginia regarding changing the agenda, but you want the public to know as much as what we're going to talk about as possible. Obviously, some emergencies can pop up, and we would have to address that. Then, again, you are allowed to adopt this ordinance without a public hearing, which we usually have for ordinances. However, it is only good for 60 days. You do have to have a public hearing for that, but once you've adopted the ordinance, you can have a public, if you wish to try to do that at the May meeting. I don't know how you all feel about that. You can set the public hearing tonight and maybe discuss a little bit about how you are going to allow the public to share their comments on this. But this statute is only good for 6 months. Given this situation, I guess 6 months from now, we may still be having these issues, but we would just have to take it up then and then adopt it again. And also, just remain in effect for 6 months. If everything were to be safe to return to normal, you could just rescind the ordinance. You would just have a vote to end that. Does anybody have any questions about any of the provisions in the ordinance?
I do on additional powers of the Director of Emergency Management. Clarify the pecking order for me on this. The Director of Emergency Management is, at this time, Dr. Cantrell?
No, I think that's
Jess?
with the county. I think that's, is that Jess or is that you, Lonzo?
I'm sorry, which position? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Carl's the director, okay.
Carl is the director of emergency management, set by the board of supervisors.
Oral Ray, yeah. Orris is assistant director.
And Orris is-
Coordinator.
Yes.
And really what this section does, this has been something that all attorneys in Virginia have been working on to try to formulate. There's a model ordinance, and then other localities have tried to do their own. I've sort of picked and choose from different ones. I think this one was a specific one that Goochland had adopted, and I think it just more or less clarifies kind of what we already did in the declaration, where that statute and that body of law gives the director under these circumstances additional powers, and it's the statute that talks about that they're not obligated by time-consuming formalities unless they're constitutionally required.
Okay. So where does Dr. Cantrell come into all this? Not at all?
I don't think she's a part of this ordinance, because she would not be under our umbrella.
Okay.
Again, I really probably could not answer too many questions about what her role is in this. Lonzo probably could, but she really would not be under. This is really about you all continuing government and boards and agencies that come within your,
Okay.
that are underneath
Yes.
you.
Thank
And
you.
then we added the school board, even though they're not technically under your umbrella.
All right.
And what this ordinance does, it gives, the board is to continue as an organizational, to continue a county business that is essential to the county during this time. It also gives additional powers as far as emergency management to the director to be able to do certain purchases that without going through the procurement, but the board itself will operate in the same organizational structure that it did. This is just giving certain powers to certain positions right now, to give us power to move under the Code of Virginia.
So all the other boards, IDA, DSAS, PSA, all of that will fall under the guidelines of this also.
Yes,
Correct.
they will be able to meet electronically, but they will have to follow what's in this ordinance to do that.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion, we approve this ordinance and authorize signature immediately.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
David? Any further discussion? All,
And I would recommend going ahead and starting the roll call vote process,
Okay.
because that's what's going to be
what
required.
to call for, yeah, I read that in it. Okay? Tim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
David?
Yes, ma'am.
Steve?
Yes.
Horace?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Thank you. All right, the next thing on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. Our regular board meeting was March the 2nd. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
David, a second.
Second.
Steve? All right, we'll do a roll call again, correct? All right, Tim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Horace?
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, our next is the minutes from March the 17th, which was our special call meeting for our emergency declaration. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
Make a motion to accept those minutes.
Steve, do we have a second?
Second.
Lou? All right, roll call. Tim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Horace?
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right. Next is approval of our expenditures for the month. Do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
David, do we have a second?
Second.
Steve? All right, roll call. Tim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
David?
Yes, ma'am.
Steve?
Yes.
Horace?
Yes.
And Rebecca, yes. We will get our bills paid for the month. Next, we were to have our citizens comment period, and due to the coronavirus, here we are with only 10 that can be in gathering at one time. Is there anyone in the hallway? Okay, after speaking with Vicki, there's no one out front.
There's no one signed up.
No one has signed up. Okay, we will close our citizens' comment period. Constitutional officers, seeing none here, we don't want to have more than 10. County administrator report and request.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The county administrator reports and requests. The first one is a request by the Department of Social Services. This is for child services, a supplemental application that they need for the increase in the services that they're providing under this emergency. For $24,107.30, I need a motion for approval for additional allocation to the DSS CSA program.
This is due to the increased number of students that have, or children that have come into the foster care program. So do we have a motion to pay this supplement?
So moved.
David, do we have a second?
Second.
Carl? All right. All the,
Discussion, please.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, just for clarity's sake, is this money already allocated in this, in their budget?
This will be additional allocation for it, but they also bill for these services. This is a mechanism that we're just morally giving them money up front, and they bill for the services, but we have to appropriate it, for the additional services so they can proceed receiving them, and then when they do, they bill them through the billing system, give reimbursement to the county.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
I didn't quite understand your answer. Is it in the budget, or is it in excess of the budget?
I don't think-
Sorry about that, it's an additional appropriation.
Additional.
Additional appropriation,
Addition to-
and it will be reimbursed upon billing, yes.
It will be reimbursed?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
It's approximately 80% state and 20% for local.
Yeah, I see the
Okay.
percentages there. How many children are in foster care now?
Currently, since this has occurred, I heard that it has went up. I think it is 63, the last count. Don't hold me to that number, but that was the last week.
I just
It was
looked,
63.
I just noticed the number on here. It says, on the second page, subtotal
49.
unduplicated child count is 49.
We had 7 in 1 week. Additional.
Okay. That's all.
All right, we'll go to roll call again. Tim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
David?
Yes, ma'am.
Steve?
Yes.
Horace?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next on the county administrator reports request is the continuation of the Lebanon Elementary wall repair that, the wall that has been separated from at the Lebanon Middle School. This is that previously back in January, we released a request for proposals. We have got the bids back in, so we need to interview these 2 contractors for the request for proposal. First, I need 2 board members to sit on the evaluation with it, along with the school board, the school superintendent, and a motion to proceed.
All right. So you need for me to appoint folks to serve, and
Yes.
then we'll do a motion, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm gonna ask that if Tim, if you don't care, because you'll be there every day, you'll be close. If they need someone, you'll be there. And I'm gonna appoint myself also, but I want to ask Mr. Breeding because of travel and constraints, if you would also be, if I can't be there, will you serve in my stead?
Yes,
Because I will tell everyone, we are trying to be cautious, and this is only my second trip out, and I'm really trying to adhere to it, and if I'm not available, I do like to have Mr. Breeding, if he doesn't care, to be there and serve.
that'd be fine, just give
Thank
me ample notice.
Give you plenty of notice, will do. All right, at this time then, we need a motion to,
I have a question.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that wall gonna be taken down and replaced by another wall, and are we gonna kind of stabilize it like
Wait
we're not
till-
talking?
wait,
Wait till the vote.
wait till our vote, and then we'll comment.
The motion.
Okay, so, do I have a motion to proceed with this?
I'd like to make a motion, we proceed with this and allow the county administrator and the committee to negotiate with the top selected contractor.
Second.
Second. All right, now, discussion, Horace.
You got my question?
Yes, sir. The while is a five-phase process. It'll be stabilizing the wall as they take it down in sections. They'll be constructing supporting the existing wall. They'll support it, and then they'll start taking down section by section. Upon analysis from the engineers on the two engineer reports that we've gotten, the wall, to get it completely to where this does not occur in the future and risk, any risk to the students and the teachers, they have broadened somewhat to go down to the length of the wall for replacement, so they ensure that this has been stabled and pinned together and restabilized and put new footers in. So this is, when we had looked at it previously, you and I, at the library, it is 2 sections down, so that way they can tie it in and support it from pulling back from the other part of the wall and continuing down to the end where the door goes in. It'll be about 75% of the wall will be replaced. That's the first proposal. We will be talking with both contractors. That's the proposal, that's the designs, and that's the plans that we have in hand currently.
That satisfied? That good? Got any more? Anything else? Okay. All right, all those in favor of this, Tim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes,
Horace?
Yeah.
And Rebecca? Yes.
Madam, the last on the county administrator reports and requests, even during this time, I'm requesting that the Board of Supervisors go ahead and set up a Russell County fiscal year 2021 budget public hearing for the next board meeting if possible.
At our May meeting,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? All right, do we have a motion for that we'll set a public hearing?
I'll make a motion for the purpose of discussion.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Lou? Okay, Steve?
Okay, now, if we're gonna do this, and this is a budget, then people are gonna have to have an opportunity to comment on this, so we're gonna have to get them information out early. And I think we should, I noticed this ordinance allows you to accept emails and written comments. I think we should make that available to avoid people having to come out or having to call in. It's gonna be awkward trying to call in and everything. It'd be better if we could do it by email or by written comment. So, I would just like to, like to schedule it so that we can get this thing done and get it out with ample time for people to review and comment on it. Mr. Gillespie?
When will we get our copy for review to go through?
He's had some printed, and it basically is just gonna be, the governor has put a freeze on things and a hold and postponed. So, Lonzo, if you'll address that.
Can you just put that in the Dropbox for us?
I can put it in the Dropbox. Just to give a little clarity, y'all have seen over the news over the last couple of days that the governor he is actually froze any hiring in the state. He is also looking at any raises, and they're looking at the budget. The numbers that we have received from the state, they have already backtracked on them and sent down messages to us not to be able to use them. because they're not concrete enough. The governor's going to go back and review it, and along with the legislators, to be able to take care of the coronavirus. This is some difficult times, so right now, we do not have any projections as far as the state sales tax and et cetera. And I also know that the Board of Supervisors has, and I'm not going to speak for y'all can speak at that time. There is no plans for any county tax increases, so that's the way that we're looking, and that's the way we have devised the budget up to this point, and we're currently waiting on the numbers from the state of Virginia to be able to proceed. I will give y'all what we have based off of what projections we got and what we are anticipating, but those can change rapidly just based off the condition of the economy and the condition of the county.
Do you have any idea when you're going to get the true state numbers?
Currently, right now, from the governor, I don't think even the legislators and the House and the Senate side, or even the governor they're still, they're going back to ground zero and rebuild the budget because of
Are
this
they going to
issue.
try to do that before the veto day or the override day? It's the end of this month.
The 20th, yes.
And I heard today that he's calling all the legislators back to Richmond on the
For
20th
special
or 21st, and gonna have a meeting outside. I think that's,
Yeah.
Well, whatever we come up with, we need to make a note on it that this is subject to the, actual numbers that we get from the state. Subject to change based on those numbers.
Yes, and we can put that disclaimer in it. One of the things it's even been discussed by the governor's staff is the state of Virginia must have its budget in by June the 30th, and that's all localities and state. That might be an executive order that will maybe even be looked at to be extended.
And something that would be available for you all would be, if you were afraid that May the 4th would be too soon, if you wanted to move your regular meeting to a little bit later in May, so that you might have
Forrest
one.
came here. Forrest came here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Something that if you all wanted to do, you could move your regular meeting to later in May if you thought that would give you more time to get the actual numbers. And that's just
Yeah.
a suggestion, but that's something that you can do. And to answer Steve's first question, yes, you can allow them to participate by email. It's just when you give this public notice and when it's advertised, it needs to be very specific in how they can participate and what the cutoff would be. Now, again, the emails to be submitted, they will not be read at the meeting, but they are to be considered by every board member before the vote is taken.
All right. Okay. We've had a motion by Steve and a second by Lou in discussion. Now we will vote. Tim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
David?
yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Oris?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes. So we will try to have our first public meeting at our May meeting, but it may be pushed back based on us getting our budget down from the state. All right, anything else, Lonzo?
That concludes the county administrator reports and requests, ma'am.
All right, next we have matters presented by the board. Tim, anything you need to discuss?
No, ma'am.
Carl?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I was just wanting to let everybody know about the COVID-19.
Okay.
This is a very serious virus, and I'd just like to go over a few things here for the people out there. If you are sick, even with mild signs of illness, fever, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, headache, fatigue, body or muscle aches, nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea, stay home. Practice social distancing. If you have to go out for essential things like grocery shopping or medical care, stay at least 6 feet away from others and wear a fabric face covering. Avoid public places, public activities, and group gatherings with 10 or more people. Wash your hands frequently to limit the spread of germs. Wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or using an alcoholic-based hand sanitizer, 60 to 95% alcohol. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth without unwashed hands. The virus is spreading mainly through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. It spreads between people who are in close contact with one another, about 6 feet, or by touching a surface or object where respiratory droplets have landed. Symptoms may appear 2 to 14 days after exposure. If you develop signs of COVID-19, get medical attention immediately. For trouble breathing, persistent pain, pressure in the chest, and bluish lips or face, or a loss of smell and taste. And I just wanted to let everybody, be aware of those things. Thank you.
Lou, you have any comments?
No, ma'am.
David?
Ma'am, all I'd like to say is, I appreciate the prayer that you prayed earlier, and I do agree totally with that we need to be praying for our local community and our country, and just pray that all of our people use wisdom and use that exact information that Carl just presented to social distance yourself and not get close, and just to have, I just want to say that, we just need to pray one for another.
Steve?
I'd just like to encourage everybody to actually utilize these social distancing guidelines. The quicker we get through this thing, the quicker we can get over it. Our economy's suffering a lot right now, and you can sort of see some upturns in some of the other states that got an early start. We always lag 6 to 8 weeks behind everybody else, and I'm not so sure that we're going to dodge the bullet on this one. So, the more we can cooperate with the social distancing and going to the doctor and making sure everything is the up and up, the better off we're going to be, and the quicker we can recover from this and get back to normal. Thank you.
Thank you. Boris?
I say just continue our distance and keep them practice good hygiene, habits, washing our hands. I've just to begin with, and I've even gotten better. Because like so long ago, when I go to a place at the door, I don't get the old door up here what I normally do. I get out down here. When I get back to the vehicle, I've got a wipe. I'll wipe my hands off before I put my hands back on the stove. So I say just keep up good practice, and like Daddy said, pray that we'll get through this thing, and God will bring us through it. We can trust Him. Nothing is impossible with Him. So He gives us the responsibility too. We've got to do a few things ourselves.
All right. If nothing else, I'll need a motion to adjourn for May the 4th.
So moved, Madam Chair.
David, second. Steve, all those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. We will be back on May. Roll call, that's right. I'm sorry. Bad habit. I'm not used to it. Tim, thank y'all. Carl?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
David?
Yes, ma'am.
Steve?
Yes.
Yes.
Forrest? And Rebecca? Yes. Roll call. We will adjourn to meet back on May 4th. Thank you.